So really what we've got here is sometimes when we're communicating with our parts, sometimes it's really easy and they kind of just open up and they'll share everything that we want to know. And other times they're not particularly communicative, not particularly helpful. And there's for very good reason. Sometimes parts feel judged. So there was a couple of questions that came through in the feedback forms, which is, why are my parts kind of difficult to deal with? Why are my protectors kind of being difficult? Or why are they not talking to me? Why are they not cooperating? And one of the things to be aware of is subconsciously, we've most likely spent our whole life judging our protectors. Like it's almost like we've been diminishing them or criticizing them. Like, oh, here we go. I've got the critical part of me again that's trying to tell me to stay safe and don't do that. Oh, why are you there? So underneath it all, we've got some criticism, we've got some judgment, and we've got some blame that's been happening to those parts. So understandably, if we've been blaming them and judging them and criticizing them our whole life unconsciously, they're probably not necessarily going to be that kind towards us, because we've kind of built a very, very, you might say, very hostile relationship with them. So the key to this is to renegotiate that relationship by being a compassionate witness to our parts. That's really what it's about. So for anyone that experiences a difficulty getting in touch with the parts, the reason being is parts will shut down or they won't want to communicate with you when they feel they're being judged. So the way through that is to set an intention to be a compassionate witness for those parts, which is really setting an intention to get to understand them. It's sincere curiosity. It's so, for example, if you've got a part of you that's, you might say, skeptical of whether or not you can be successful, instead of going, that damn part trying to sabotage me, you might go in with something like, I'm really curious about why that part would be skeptical about, like, why would it be trying to protect me? What's it up to? I'm really curious. What's happening for you? What do you believe? Like, let's just open a dialogue. So curiosity here is the key to it. It's really being curious. And you'll notice that when your other parts are involved, when parts are arguing with each other, curiosity is not present. So if you're ever wondering, why am I not curious about it? It's because there's another part there that doesn't like the idea of being curious. It's just like, no, it's my way or the highway. Okay. So if you ever notice that it's difficult to get in touch with really exploring a deeper part of you, just invite in that intention of, would it be helpful for us to just generally be more curious about what's happening for the other person? And the answer will always be yes. Because with curiosity, what happens is you get power from curiosity, because curiosity opens the door to knowledge, to wisdom, to learn more about, even you might even call it knowing about one's enemy, right? The best thing you could ever do about your enemies would be to understand them. That would give you power to be able to harmonize, to be able to work with. So this allows you to go from seeing your parts as your enemies to the access point to harmonizing and integrating your parts by being curious. So that's the first thing I wanted to say, just in case anyone here is experiencing difficulty around that, because that's totally normal. Okay. What typically happens once we're curious about our parts is the protective parts are usually the first ones to kind of dig in. They kind of dig their heels in because they're kind of trying to keep the whole system safe. So what I find is usually helpful is to set an overall intention with ourselves, or if you're doing this with a partner, your partner can help you set an intention to do this as well, which is an intention of safety, which is, I'm not looking to change my parts. I'm not looking to fight them. I'm just simply looking to understand you. I want to listen to you. So it's the intention of being the compassionate witness. Now, when you create that intention, all of your parts relax, all the protective parts relax. And what that does is it creates a bit of spaciousness for the dialogue to now happen. Oh, what is it that you're critical about? What is it that you want to stop me from doing? Oh, like, tell me about that. All right. So it's kind of like a very soft, gentle conversation that then opens up. Yeah. And And even like, for example, there's sometimes where I'm doing parts integration sessions for clients, and a client will all of a sudden, mid conversation, a client will feel almost like they freeze, like, oh, there's a part of me that's just kind of frozen and I don't want to go any further. I'm like, oh, okay, that's okay. Yeah, totally get that. What's the feeling of freezing? Like, how does it feel? So it's like acknowledging. It's like, no, that's not a problem. It's like, okay, cool. Okay, you're feeling a bit frozen. Okay, cool. How does that part feeling? What's up for it? So it's like nothing is ever an obstacle. It's just as soon as a part comes up, it's like, oh, hello, how are you? What's happening for you? There's just constant curiosity at every step of the way, so that there's never any resistance. Like as soon as someone starts pushing, you just kind of you give way and you say, oh, what's like, okay, like there's just acceptance of every part of that process. So that's one important thing to be aware of, is when you're looking to understand yourself, resistance is futile. Like trying to force yourself to do anything is fighting against the part. Right? You could use willpower and say, just shut up, like just go away. Like, but that is going to create a very jarring effect on that part, and it's not going to make it feel loved. You're not going to get access to understand it. It's just kind of fighting with it. So the obstacle is the way, and the way that you meet that obstacle is with listening, compassionate listening, with love, with saying, oh, what's happening for you? So instead of this being something where you beat your parts down by force or by willpower, you win them over with love and curiosity. That's the way that you harmonize parts.